with IKEA, you have sick time, PTO, plus your holiday pay. What is holiday pay? Let's say, so I'm not talking about like Christmas, Thanksgiving and stuff. Holiday pay is to where they give you an additional, I'm using a random number here. Let's say they give you an additional 48 hours of pay, or 48 hours so you can use to schedule time off. On top of using, again, random numbers here, using an additional, 80 hours of PTO given to you, plus your regular or random 30 hours of sick time. They give you so much time off because they believe a coworker shouldn't have to be overworked or anything of that sort. Give you obviously jury duty time off, leave of absence, paid time off, parental leave. They give you sabbaticals, sick time, wellness day. They have 401k, Medicare, life insurance, long-term disability, short-term disability, workers' comp, a whole bunch of stuff they can give you. They also include dental, medical, prescription, telehealth, vision, and other wellness. I'm trying to make sure no one catches me here. I'm not revealing secret messages or anything, because this is stuff that's explained when they put jobs out. I don't know, just being cautious a little bit. But then again, what I'm saying is nothing that's hidden from the public. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they have a whole bunch of stuff. It's an amazing benefit program that they do have. So they even have post-termination expenses. So let's say if you choose to leave IKEA, they will cover you depending on what time. Let's say if you have certain amount of benefits or medical something, I guess, expenses that you haven't used, they give you a certain time frame to use that stuff still. That way you're not completely left out in the dust. So, hey, but yeah, those are the majority of the benefits. Like I say, pay could differ. For childcare, if a person, is having a child, back up. First off, they allow for couples to work in the same workplace, first off. But they cannot work in the same department. So let's say if I worked in, bedding, my partner could not work in bedding with me. There cannot either be one over another either. So let's say if I was the manager of rugs and my partner worked in rugs as just a regular employee, that cannot work. But my partner worked in kitchens and I worked in the restaurant, that's a-okay. So that's allowed here. But at the same time, as I was saying, if a couple is expecting a child, as the child gets closer to the due date or whatever the case may be, for the time off needed, I think the maximum is 3 months. And that is not a joke. They allow up to 3 months for the woman to be off. And I think in some cases the male too. Even if no matter if the male worked here and the woman didn't, or if it's vice versa. If someone is expecting a child, you spend time with that child. That's what they go for. I seen it to where there was a lady here. She had a child and she was gone for the 3 months. And her husband who worked here, he was only gone for maybe a month or a month and a half. It just depends on how they arrange that with the store itself, with the managers and all that stuff. So, but they provide childcare, discounts to kinder care, and they do tuition reimbursement for people who go to school. It's not bad, but with all this being said, you have to remember, with all the benefits, there's guaranteed to be taking a chunk out of your pay. And let me tell you, there's a chunk, okay? It's a noticeable chunk. So just make sure if whoever does apply, you have some stuff ready to go. Fun fact, randomly last year they also started working with another company called Complement, I don't know, but it's with a K. And they also provide home insurance, automotive insurance. Oh, they also provide pet insurance as well. So if you dog, cat, whatever the case may be, they will cover that as well. So they try to cover all the bases needed for you. So benefits are nice. Now, with every job, they always tell you the good stuff first. And the good stuff is the selling point. Work-wise, downside, for probably the part where I have a problem with, and this is a major problem. I applied to, so the store I work at, the store was built in 2017, 2018, and I applied early hand, and I didn't get accepted. Reason being when I found out is because they were receiving like an uncanny amount of applications when they first was coming to our area. So a lot of people missed out because they were flooded with applications and resumes and all this and that. It wasn't until 2019 in which I applied again and I actually got hired. So if you want to apply, go ahead. Here's the downside of that. What I noticed is they mostly, first off, they like to promote from within. So if there's a job available, employees are more than likely going to find out before it's released to the public. Thus, their employees would, either go for that position first. Now, the reason I don't like that, right? The reason I don't like that is because, let's say for me, for the HL, right? If there's a HL3 level available, I would have to then go back to, instead of just saying, hey, can I get promoted and move up? I want to be better. I want to stay with IKEA. I want to do good. Instead of that being the case, I have to just go back to the website, putting another application in and see if it gets approved or not. If it gets approved, I then have to re-interview with the managers as if I'm a brand new employee. The reason I say that's the part I don't like is because, let's say you spend your time dedicating, to your work and everything you do just for someone random, let's say another employee from the kitchen team, can just come in, swoop in, and take that from you, when in reality, you probably deserve it. It sucks for the public because when people are trying to apply and they feel that, hey, IKEA sounds like a good place, let me apply for it, they don't want to accept the people outside of IKEA first. They want to accept the people in IKEA first. And I feel like it's wrong to do. Now, there are cases in which they will hire from the outside, and that's great. My problem is they need to do that more, because even though they're hiring from the inside, it's not enough. We are short-staffed, overworked, we're severely overworked. And when I say that, I'm talking, we're working, we had, let's say, for an example, we have 40 people in our area before COVID, right? And then COVID happened, and that number dwindled down to maybe half or maybe even 16 people, just only a third of it left. They still have worked us as if we had 40 people with no replacements. There's only been a total of probably 8 people to come in to IKEA brand new, and probably only 5 or 6 of them actually stayed. And if they didn't, they've already had thoughts of moving on to somewhere else, but they're just haven't left yet. But it's my area, we have our issues, but we still get the job done. it is what it is. It's every job. I just the way I come into it, I don't try to focus on it as much because I'm only here till the end of my shift. Okay, once I hit the end of my shift, you're not asking me to stay over. You're not asking me to do this, do that. I mean, they rarely ask you to stay over your shift. The problem with it, they actually don't want you to get overtime. They only want you to work your hours. And it's a rare case in actually getting overtime or anything of that sort. When they do offer overtime, they'll let you know, saying, hey, they were approved for extra hours. And so if you want to stay or come in earlier, you can. But other than that, overtime is not really a guaranteed thing here. If you do get overtime, they'll say, hey, be careful with it, don't do that again, so forth. Same thing with your lunches. You can't ignore your lunches. You are required to take your lunches. So there's some downsides to it, but that's my area. Again, there's more stuff that I could go on about, and I feel like I'm already telling a lot of detail as is, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, working at IKEA. Now, one thing I would like to mention is COVID last year. Like I said, before and after COVID, employees kind of dropped a little bit, but it wasn't a termination. Okay, I'll get into what they did with COVID in a second here, but they gave us the option to choose to come back to work, because they knew that people were living off of the unemployment at the time, back when it was like up to $600 or something like that a week. And they literally would call people, say, hey, IKEA is planning to open back up for employees on, a random date. They gave us a date and said, are you wanting to come back to work? Of course I said yes, that's why I'm here, hey. A lot of people said no. So a lot of people didn't come back, and that's one of the reasons why that we're such short-staffed in many areas. It's not just my areas, many areas. Majority of the kitchen team never came back. Customer service and stuff like that. Now, when COVID did happen, let me tell you this. IKEA took care of all its employees, and the amount I'm talking about, you have to realize, IKEA is not, it's a Swedish company. So first off, it's based out of Sweden. Second thing, they have stores not only in Sweden, not only in the US, but majority of all over the world, okay? And when COVID came around, everything was unsure at first. They did some restrictions, but then they furloughed everyone. Now, this furlough occurred for a total of 2 months. IKEA, at the time, when they make a schedule for employees, they make it for the entire month. So 4 weeks out is your schedule. For a total, for the first month, they paid you your entire paycheck, full, no matter what, as if you were still working hours. So while you're chilling at home, they were still clocking you for the hours and still paid you for the time you were scheduled to work. And they actually did that to the end of the second month because they weren't sure how long it was going to go. Now, here's the thing. You still had all your benefits. You still had full access to everything. So literally nothing changed financially for you. But at the end of the second month, they announced, or coming towards the end of the second month, they announced that, hey, we're going to stop with the paying for your, basically for the pay. So you wouldn't receive any of your paycheck anymore. But after the end of the second month, you will still have access to your full benefits. So you have access to benefits, but you won't get any pay, which as a company, it's still good because obviously it's a health scare, you know. If, let's say, COVID did occur to you during that time, how were you going to pay for it, you know, if your, you know, benefits and everything stopped? So they still covered you on that. Got in a car wreck, they still covered you. No matter what, they had your back. For the first 2 months, they had your back with still providing you a source of income. And which for me worked out pretty well because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. It, literally right before COVID, sorry, I had to make sure manager was coming. Literally right before COVID, I planned to get a second job just so I can have another source of income. But when COVID happened, IKEA shut down, but my second job didn't, which sucks because I feel like we should have. My second job was more of a threat towards COVID than IKEA was, which doesn't make sense. So, unfortunately, I was covered no matter what still. But when we did end the furlough, like I said, we were closed for 2 months. Let me make sure I have this right. March, April. Hold on. Just a quick video real quick. Right now I'm doing the food truck. Ooh, actually real quick, let me show you. Today we're receiving 2 trucks. This is the first truck coming all the way from New Jersey. It's from it's a company called Sea Frigo. I don't know. There's 4 frozen pallets on this truck I gotta get. And yeah, he's coming slow and steady, lined up perfectly. Now, the part that's gonna suck the most is that I have to unload this truck by hand because my machine is not made to going on trailers. Now, Ivory, why don't you just have another machine do it, or why don't you get on? Well, you see, I've been trying, okay? I literally was just rushed to get certified on another machine, which I'm not even comfortable with. I literally have spent probably a total of only an hour and a half on this machine altogether. So those are the machines, those are the counterbalance forklifts that are actually made to go, you know, on trailers. Unfortunately, mine is not. But I'm gonna do a time lapse real quick of getting this truck unloaded. So, did not expect the help for the food truck, not gonna lie. But, appreciate it, very much so. Let me just show you real quick how far out I had to walk. So, I had to walk all the way down there, turn the corner just to go up there, talk to the driver, get the paperwork, all that stuff. And then walk back around, come back. The reason it's tiring is because, as you see, we had to unload it by hand. So originally the driver is supposed to come inside so that way he can see if there's any problems with the trailer itself, or if, you know, a pallet fell over. The reason I ignored it this time is because I'm part-time. That's some full-time stuff. But in my heart, since I already worked in food service before, I always check the food. So now, on these pallets are random boxes of fish. And I need to figure out the lot numbers for those. That way they can recall fish just in case. I've never heard of them recalling any sort of fish. So, it's just a process they do. So let me get to that. Okay, I got it. So, we were actually furloughed for 3 months. Yeah. 3 months we were furloughed. When we came back, okay, hear me out. When we came back, they first only opened the store up for employees. So when we came back, no contact for anyone outside the store, like customer wise. We were unloading trucks and putting stuff away still. It was strange because literally when we furloughed, everything was frozen in time. Pallet jacks and stuff were still here and everything. Come to find out, managers and stuff, they were still working from home. So everyone here had to come, pick up a computer, go home, and they were working from home still. So, but those were like HL4s, salaried store managers and stuff like that. But we came back and we were not open up to the public for another 2 months. Everything they were doing sanitizer, daily temperature checks, all the necessities needed for to prevent any form of interactions or you know what I'm saying, all the regular COVID stuff you've seen around. But they even assigned a new position for some leaders to take over every now and then. Safety manager, so literally a person would be walking around the store checking to make sure people were 6 feet apart, checking people to see if they had their mask on, refilling the sanitizers and making sure things were wiped, making sure the sanitation crew knew what was going on and all this and that. They had it under control, okay? And then customers came. They finally opened it up to customers, but they didn't open the restaurant. That restaurant was a big gathering for customers, but they never opened the restaurant until this year, actually. So, yeah. They also, when they did close, they actually was giving away some of the food in the freezer because it was perishables. So before we closed, they gave a lot of the food away to the employees. Fun fact. But yeah, though they covered everyone. When we came back, they allowed customers to come in. They still mandatory masks for everyone. 6 feet still. Everything was covered. If there was a case of COVID at the store, they would isolate the event to where, let's say me and John were talking one day, and John said he felt under the weather, went to go get a COVID test, came back positive. They would isolate John for quarantine, stay at home quarantine, and then everyone who John came in contact with during the 3 days prior or something like that. Everyone had to get quarantined, but they were still paid fully. And everyone still paid fully. And if you weren't having any symptoms, come back to work perfectly fine. If you did have symptoms, you would get tested. If you were positive, you would be quarantined. Simple as that. So, yeah. Hello there. So right now it's a real slow day at work, and I decided I'm gonna make some wire. Now, what is that? Right now we are basically the distributor that provides us the wire for the balers, for like the compact or the cardboard compact baler. They're out of stock, meaning we can have nothing to tie down the baler. So what IKEA has done, we've purchased this wire, right? But obviously we have to unfold it and create the right length for the wire for the baler. So here we go. I'm gonna show you how it's done. Hopefully, maybe. Nah. 3 at the angle. Break. To end this vlog off for today, I'm gonna show you guys the dock real quick, just to more elaborate. Those lifts are the counterbalance. Those are your average forklifts. Somebody didn't put the seat up like it's supposed to. These are the narrow aisles. These are your high reach lifts. Look at the majority of the drivers drive those. These are the shunters. I drive these. I mostly drive these two. But yeah. And then we got a clean dock today because it was a slow day. Got random stuff over here. And yeah. Got a clear dock. Got some trash I need to take care of, but since my shift ends, we usually try to get as much trash as we can done. If not, other stuff will take over. And I'm just take a look real quick. Stuff for tomorrow. So yeah, got some work ahead of us tomorrow. So I'm gonna show you these things. They're called blocks, okay? The blocks, they do be thick, so yeah.